Welcome and thank you for joining us on this special day, and thank you for your partnership throughout the year. 8th grade marks a milestone at Stonebridge. It encompasses two defining projects, Boston and speech. These projects complement each other as students study the rudimentary principles of America's Christian history. They learn to apply those principles to their own lives, which shape and cultivate a biblical worldview. The 8th grade speech provides each student with opportunity to publicly demonstrate personal faith by reasoning through a real-world issue from a biblical worldview. Furthermore, 8th grade speeches provide a foundation from which students go on to perfect their speaking and reasoning abilities to eventually present and defend a senior thesis before graduating from Stonebridge School. A biblical principle that the 8th grade has been focusing on this year is that speech, language, is a gift from God. As we learn in Genesis chapter 1, God created the world by speaking it into existence. So we therefore know that speech is important to God. So we must speak in a way that brings glory to God and life to those around us. And now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our first 8th grade speaker for our second day of speech presentations. We began last Thursday, and this is our second group of presenters. Becton Topping has been attending Stonebridge School for 9 years. Becton enjoys playing baseball, building Legos, and I can't read this other one, I should have read it beforehand, but I know you play basketball too. The title of Becton's speech is A Biblical Worldview of America's Christian Heritage.
Thank you, Mrs. Lepson. George Washington once said, "It isn't possible to rightly govern a nation without God and the Bible." America's Christian character is declining because society is turning away from Christianity, modern liberalism is on the rise, and the overall decay of moral values is rampant. According to Webster's 1828 dictionary, the definition of a decline is to pass gradually from a sound, prosperous, or perfect state to a less perfect state, or towards destruction, to fail, to decline, or to be gradually impaired. Sadly, America has passed from a republic under God and has become a democracy under an immoral majority. Modern liberalism and modern liberals' views of government are on the rise. Modern liberalism was once known as progressivism. Progressivism rejected limited government and instead welcomed centralized government with unlimited power that spent large amounts of money on welfare programs. The name was changed to make citizens believe that this form of liberalism was the same as our founding fathers, such as Thomas Jefferson, believed, but nothing could be farther from the truth. These liberal views have pushed Christianity almost to the point of extinction, and the result can be seen all around us. Extreme liberals have turned a blind eye on Islam and have even identified conservative Christians as the greatest terrorist threat in America. The moral decay of America is evident now more than ever. Furthermore, America's belief in a strong moral value has decreased over the past 5 decades. Our founding fathers lived by a strict moral code that was being passed from generation to generation. In a letter written from John Adams to his son John Quincy Adams, he said, "There are 3 points of doctrine, the belief of which forms the foundation of all morality. The first is the existence of God. The second is the immortality of the human soul. And the third is a future state of rewards and punishments. Suppose it is possible for a man to disbelieve either of these 3 articles of faith, and that man will have no conscience. He will have no other law than that of the tiger or of the shark. The laws of man may bind him in chains or may put him to death, but they can never make him wise, virtuous, or happy." The new meaning, additional deterioration can be seen in the definition of marriage. Ephesians 5:31 says, "For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and will be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh." The new meaning of marriage, from the unity of a man and a man, now pertains to the marriage of a woman and a woman and a man and a man. Contemporary views of the family unit have shunned Christianity, and they are now spilling over into the educational system. For example, in Plainview, Texas, a 13-year-old boy was suspended for reading his Bible during recess because he was violating school policy which stated students cannot practice religion during school hours. The Christian heritage of America is fading into obscurity. American history begins with the Pilgrims of Plymouth who sacrificed their lives to pursue religious liberty. Furthermore, America's first president, George Washington, during his inaugural speech, said, "Such being the impressions under which I have, in obedience to the public summons, repaired to the present station, it would be peculiarly improper to omit, on this day, my fervent supplications to that Almighty Being who rules over the universe. No people can be bound to acknowledge and adore the invisible hand which conducts the affairs of men more than the people of the United States. Every step by which they have advanced to an independent nation seems to have been distinguished by some token of providential agency." American history is oftentimes twisted to fit the beliefs of those who do not believe in God. In schools today, America is taught as an immoral nation characterized by slavery, racism, colonialism, imperialism, economic exploitation, and militarism, when in actuality, America has been a beacon of freedom to all nations and a country that has spilled more blood and spent more treasure to liberate other peoples than any other nation. In conclusion, America has a heritage of strong Christian faith, but that heritage is under attack. Winston Churchill once said, "Those who do not know history are destined to repeat it, and in our current rate, we are looking like Rome before their downfall." If we as Americans do not keep the morals set for us by our founding fathers, we obey our own destruction.